For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to the Heavenly Father in the name of the begotten Son, Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Ruchakwadash, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honor to my teachers, the elder apostles of the great millstone who rule well, and as always, peace and salutations to the hopeful elect tabernacle of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and shalom to the sincere Akwaf. And these Edomites are not too happy about this report because every year around this time they're reminded of their shameful history of genocide, violence, and white supremacy. And it tells you that in Apocrypha, Sirach, the 41st chapter, where it says the children will complain of an ungodly father because they will be reproached for his sake. And they got to live with the shame of what their ancestors did. And the fact that, they set up a feast, a ritualistic festivity commemorating that genocide and violence against these said people so that they can, possess this land, that they had us build, all right, that they exploited, from us to be able to build this empire that they are still living in, which is actually on a decline as we speak. So, people, getting ready to, put they stuff in a turkey and throw it in the oven. But for years, with this information coming out, you know, it always bring a reminder of, what took place, and that there wasn't no exchange, there wasn't no, you know, giving gifts to one another because they're thankful for one another. That's Esau's narrative. He's celebrating his victory over Israel. That's what Thanksgiving is all about. All right. So this is a report from MSNBC, and it says declares Thanksgiving is about white people or Edomites. That's the correct nationality, celebrating genocide and violence against blacks, and not just against Judah, but also against Gad too. All right, the northern tribes, and this is something that they want to continue to, let the past be the past. You know, they basically Esau's getting tired of revisiting their shameful history because it convicts them. But we in that time where your sins have to be exposed. It tells you in Apocrypha that an inquisition will be made. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 6 real quick. Second Ezra's 6 and verse. I'm gonna start at verse 18. It says, and it said, "Behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh to visit them that dwell upon the earth." And we're in the time of the Lord's visitation. That's why we're seeing all these different signs and wonders all throughout the planet. We're seeing signs in the moon, and it's fearful sightings in the sky, strange weather patterns. You're seeing uproars of the people in the world, distress, increase of sorrows. All right, that's the Lord visiting the earth. It says, and will begin to make inquisition of them. And an inquisition is basically an investigation when you look into a particular thing. Let me define inquisition: a period of prolonged and intensive questioning or investigation. And you Esau, now that we're at the end of your rule, your kingdom, you're found wanting. You see, now the Lord is doing a thorough, intensive investigation upon your rulership. And everything that you've done against the tribes is now held in a balance, man. And now a reckoning, all right, or a retribution is imminent. You got to pay that up, man. And it just so happened that, you know, the people who did this, they left that tab to their descendants, the generations that came after them. You see, it says, "What they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled," basically when our iniquity, the punishment of our iniquity is at its end, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away, and this is Esau's world right now. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning that follows. His world is beginning to vanish away. That's why the earth is fading, is losing its strength. The people are getting weaker, they're getting sicker. It says, "Shall be finished. Then will I show these tokens," meaning these wonders. "The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together." All right. And that's what we're seeing. And more Israelites are waking up. You see? And it also says in Job, was that 20 and 27, "The heaven shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him." This is why Esau is losing right now. His kingdom is divided up. All right. He's getting into all type of conflicts. Nobody's happy with him. The whole earth is mourning. They're in uproar. You're becoming small among the heathen and greatly despised. The only ones that's still trying to tag along with your ass is Jake. That's still in a slave mentality. They don't want to really see your kingdom, vanish away. They love being ruled over. They didn't gotten so accustomed to it because they have Stockholm syndrome. All right, that's why it says in Jeremiah, why are you spoiled, man? Are you a homeborn slave? But getting back into it, this is something that always got to be brought to light when these people get around and try to, act like, these people are wholesome, and they'll have the nerve to, you know, bring some pies and sweet potato pie and turkey and all that shit, and have you gathered around to act like, this is something to be thankful for. And they'll be like, name something that you are thankful about or thankful for. Well, there's nothing for us to be thankful about because we're still right here in the land of our captivity. We're still subject to payments. We're yet this day in our captivity. We're still oppressed. Ain't nothing primarily changed. So anyway, I'm getting into the article. It says MSNBC took 5 minutes of its race baiting coverage of the Rittenhouse case to remind its extremist viewers that Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving is coming up, and that is a celebration of, you guessed it, white supremacy. It is, and this is, here come the narrative of, trying to tie in, what they got going on the left hand side with what's actually reality. This is Esau loves to gaslight whenever the finger is pointed at him. When it's time for him to take accountability for what's done, he has to spin it and gaslight to take the heat off of himself. He's a professional victim villain. It says Tiffany Cross, who earlier had called Kyle Rittenhouse a murderous white supremacist, handed over a segment of her show to Yasi Ross, who declared that the holiday is part of the pathology of white America, believing that they have improved the country. But I'm still trying to figure out what indigenous people received of value. And I actually got the video clip. I'm actually play it at the end. And this guy that he actually went in. He went in. There's nothing you can really say. You know, what have they really received of value since these devils, you know, came over here? When their forefathers established this place, you know, what did these people that got the short end of the stick, what did they receive of value? Because before this devil came over here, this place was it was rich. It was rich in you know gold, silver, cattle, resources. It was so rich that even going back during the time of Solomon, he had a navy that came over here every 3 years to gather resources and bring it back over to Israel. But when this devil came over here, everything got stripped, and he exploited you know everything for himself. That's why, and they knew that this place was holding. That's why they came over here and scoped it out and had Cristobal Colon, which who they call Christopher Columbus. He came over here with the Hebrew interpreters because they knew that there were Israelites over here, and that was the northern tribes. All right. It says Ross proclaimed, adding, instead of bringing stuffing and biscuits, those settlers brought genocide and violence, and that is what they did. You see, they came over here and they brought disease. They came over here with with you know with the gun, with the sword, because Esau is a violent man. Unto him was given a great sword. Let me get a quick script. And let me get a Revelation 6:4. And it says, and there went out another horse that was red, all right, as Esau's red, Adawam, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And since he came into power, there's never been a time of peace on earth. It's just been nothing but killing, genocide, war, and that's how he got to power. And that was pursuant to the blessing that Isaac gave to Esau, that he would live by the sword, and he would have the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth, which was also promised to Jacob. But right now, it's in the possession of the Edomites. Because of that great sword, they're on top. They hold the power. They hold the authority. All right, and that's why I started by quoting Obadiah 1 verse 10. Because of thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee. Because that's literally what they came with when they met the Gadites. They was acting like they was coming in peace. They was acting like they were lost and they were trying to find the land of India. But that was a damn lie, man. They knew what they was over here for. All right, they was looking for riches. He that hasteth to be rich have an evil eye. You see, it says he further declared that genocide and violence is still on the menu as state-sponsored violence against Native and Black Americans is commonplace, and violent private white supremacy is celebrated and subsidized. You know, and that's basically what that celebration is, because that was not an exchange at all. Or that was a straight up a slaughter and takeover. You even had a man by the name of Andrew Jackson. He was one of the U.S. presidents. It was a reason why they nicknamed him the Indian killer. Go look up on what happened under Andrew Jackson. All right. And now look at where Gad is now. A lot of them were removed into uh, uh, basically the worst parts of the land. Majority of them in reservations, man, and in a land that they fight to keep. That's even being exploited. You know, they have to rely off of certain water supply, and Esau pollutes that. Put pipelines through their water supply, contaminating it with oil. So it says black people are still being murdered by those paid to protect us, Ross added in a rant against police. He continued, white Americans are still killing Native and black Americans with no fear of reprisal. And that's a vital point. You don't think that there's gonna be some reckoning or retribution for that? Because you've been getting away with it for hundreds of years now. But guess what? You're gonna pay for that. And what this also shows, and this is a Gadai speaking, man. So he's acknowledging that both his people and Judah both suffered. And that brings me to the prophecy confirmed in Jeremiah that both the northern and the southern kingdom will oppress together. That happened right here on this soil. Jeremiah 50 and 33, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel, which represents the north, the northern kingdom, are the Native Americans, the indigenous tribes, the so-called Latino tribes of indigenous descent, and the children of Judah are the so-called Negro, black men, were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. All right, and let's look up that word oppressed. And the word is Aishak. And it says to press upon, oppress, violate. We were violated, man. You know, they killed a lot of us. They exploited us of slave labor. They had their way with our women, raped our women. They indoctrinated us. Violate, man. They were bug breaking Jake and Native American Gadites. It says defraud, do violence, and that's what they did. Get deceitfully, wrong, extort. It says down here to be exploited, be crushed. All right, and because of that, like it says in Sirach 10 and 8, because of your unjust dealings, let me go to that real quick. Sirach 10 verse 8. It says, yeah, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. And it's going to be translated when Yahweh Shai comes back. When he returns, that's when the kingdom is going to be translated into the kingdom of Jacob. All right. So I'm going to finish this out. It says, they brought chattel slavery to Africans or Israelites and native people. That still happens through the prison industrial complex that imprisons the descendants of enslaved Africans and natives at far desperate numbers. That is the reality of Thanksgiving, he concluded. Hey, and I'm gonna play the video at the end. All right. He went in, and this is facts. Yeah, we do feel the prison industrial complex, man. Just look at the numbers. It's mainly Jake in there. All right. They put together that 13th Amendment, to basically legalize slavery if Jake commits a crime. And then they create a system around that to keep Jake in there. They use the hip hop black wicked ass black culture to keep that prison industrial complex fulfilled. While these niggas get paid to keep you under that influence to live that lifestyle that keeps you a part of that. That's why them niggas in the rap world are the worst. They shouldn't be idolized at all. Niggas crying over fucking young Dolph. Well, he plays a part in that, man. But anyway, I'm not gonna, diverge, but that's facts, man. But Esau, he ain't liking this because he has to constantly be reminded that this is his history and he's being shamed for it. And matter of fact, let me get uh Habakkuk 2:16. Habakkuk 2:16, it says, "Thou art filled with shameful glory, drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered," meaning being exposed. "The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory." And you got to drink that cup now. It was all fine and well, it was all good when we drank it, but now it's time for you to now it's your turn. Now you got an issue. Now it's a problem. You see, but it don't work like that, man. Let me get Jeremiah 49 and was it 12? Yeah, Jeremiah 49:12 says, "For thus saith the Lord." Matter of fact, let me go up. Jeremiah 49:10, it says, "But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places, he shall not be able to hide himself." Right? Yeah, you're a vagabond trying to get away, but you can't hide yourself anymore. You're exposed. His seed is spoiled and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. And mainly the elite. They're safe from fear of trouble. They're not plagued as other men, you know. But even their own, because you got Amalek, that's the head, the chief, the first of the nations, and then you got these regular Edomites, and they gotta deal with the shame. But the elites, they're in their comfort zone, and they're at the forefront of all that wickedness that happened, man. You know, and that's why they're even coming against the top. So Esau is divided among himself. And these regular Edomites, they tired of taking the you know they're tired of taking the reproach. When those top devils, the small hats, Zionists that were in control of that funded this whole thing, they get to hide behind, their bullshit. Well, we suffered the it's the H word. I'm not going to even because they'll be quick to throw out the anti-sim card, right? But they'll hide behind their little shit, you know. And they get reparation every freaking year for it. Our tax-paying money, billions of dollars every freaking year. But we went through what we went through for hundreds of years, and we still don't seem to be getting any kind of, you know no type of reparation. Nobody give a shit, man. No matter how many times Jake go out there and get all vocal and cry out and complain, and ain't nobody finna put up no. The scriptures say that you would not be regarded or reckoned among the nations, man. You'll just be on your own. You see, Jake, you on your own, man. Stop looking for the enemy to take up for you. All right. So it says, leave thy fatherless children, I will preserve them alive, and let thy widows trust in me. For thus saith the Lord, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. And art thou he that shall go altogether unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. And you gonna drink the worst part, the dregs. You know, you gonna the scripture said you're gonna wring it out, man. So everything that we had to go through, you're gonna have to go through, and we're gonna actually repay you double. Let me get a precept on that too. In Revelation 18:6, it says, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. And the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. All right. So that's coming, man. Let's go to Lamentations 4 and 21 through 22. And I like to read it in the NLT translation. And it says, are you rejoicing in the land of Uz, O people of Edom? But you too must drink from the cup of the Lord's anger. You too will be stripped naked in your drunkenness. O beautiful Jerusalem, your punishment will end. You will soon return from exile, because we've been in exile all this time now. We in Babylon, the land of our captivity, man. Still serving these pieces of shit. It says, but Edom, your punishment is just beginning. Soon your many sins will be exposed. And we in that time, man. And those curses that we've been up under, the curses are gonna be placed on you. Like the poor Edomites that's in this country that's suffering, that's living even worse than Jake. They're the first ones to start suffering up under that curse. And it's only just beginning, man. Y'all got hell to pay. You see? Let me get Ezekiel 35. Because you shed our blood here, man. All those natives, all those Gadites, man, all the those Reubenites that you slaughtered, Rosewood, we ain't forget none of that. The Lord don't forget nothing, man. The Lord said he required that which is past. And you're still in rule, you're still in power. So you still are held accountable, man. Ezekiel 35:1. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord power, behold, I, Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, you've been hating us since out of the womb, even going back before then. The Lord said he will put enmity between us, starting in the garden, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. And that's what you have to do to establish America. Okay? You have to slaughter the natives, and this is what you celebrate on this particular day. That cranberry sauce that they put on the stuffing, that's what that is. The blood. It says in the time of their calamity, in the time that they had in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Say, if thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. And this land is filled with blood. All right. The only way this land will be cleansed of the blood is the shedding of the blood of those that did shed it. All right. So that's what's gonna happen, man. So, hey, because of thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee. All right. And you can't refute this. This is all facts, man. This is all history that you really you want to get past it. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna leave it with that. Lord willing, this was edifying, and I'll leave a link to this in the description box. And here's the actual report right here. All right, this guy right here, he laid into him. Okay. Now maybe they're probably using this for some type of propaganda, but it doesn't erase the fact that this is what it is. It's still facts. All right. So matter of fact, let me play it, and then we'll just close out with that.
With Thanksgiving right around the corner, I wanted to turn the mic over to Cross Connection favorite and my friend Giassi Ross for this week's essay and his take on the real story of Thanksgiving and some history you probably never read in your school books.
Okay. Natanako Umakumsaka. My name is Giassi Ross. I come from the Amskapi Pekani Nation. The mythology of Thanksgiving closely mirrors the mythology of America. That mythology is the image that white Americans love to see of themselves. White settlers come to a strange land in good faith, bringing something of great value that enriches the people who are already here. The natives also bring something of immense value, equal exchange. That closely mimics the mythology of white America. It is how America wants to see itself. The truth, of course, of Thanksgiving is much different. The truth is pilgrims did not bring turkey, sweet potato pie, or cranberries to Thanksgiving. They could not. They were broke. They were broken. Their hands were out. They were begging. They brought nothing of value, but they got fed.
And that reminds me, there's a scripture in Apocrypha that says not to bring anybody into your house, for many men have trains. They didn't see that this man was a snake, that slithered upon their land, acting like it was helpless, you know, like it was helpless and harmless. But that was uh, a snake came upon them, man. If they would have understood, who they was dealing with, but it had to be done for prophecy's sake. Because the prophecy said that they would do it, man. All right, the beast would, come out of the bottomless pit and come and wage war against the saints and prevail, and that we will be held up under them for a time and you know, for a period, basically for a certain period of time, man. All right, and then the Lord would bring up the end.
They got schooled. Thanksgiving. It makes sense. There is much for white Americans to be thankful for. But I'm still trying to figure out what indigenous people received of value. Instead of bringing stuffing and biscuits, those settlers brought genocide and violence. That genocide and violence is still on the menu, as state-sponsored violence against Native and Black Americans is commonplace, and violent private white supremacy is celebrated and subsidized. From Stonechild Chief Stick to Mike Brown to Renee Davis to Breonna Taylor to Eric Gardner, indigenous and Black people are still being murdered by those paid to protect us. From Ahmaud Arbery to Trayvon Martin, white Americans are still killing Native and Black Americans with no fear of reprisal. They brought chattel slavery to Africans and Native people. That still happens through the prison industrial complex that imprisons the descendants of enslaved Africans and Natives at far disparate numbers. That is the reality of Thanksgiving. Many of us are still waiting for white Americans to bring some value, still waiting for white America to match the mythology of Thanksgiving. Freedom, justice, equality, reparations for 2.5 billion acres.
Fuck equality, and we don't want equality, man. All right, we want rule. We want the top, man. We want the top spot because that's where it was appointed for Jacob to rule. They're not even supposed to be where they are, but for prophecy's sake, it had to be done. These devils, they don't need to be in no position of equality with the saints. It's time for Jake to get that ruling class mentality, man. Come up out of this slave mentality of being equal with your oppressor. He don't believe in equality. All right. He believes in him being in the position that he's in for all eternity, man.
Acres of stolen native land, reparations for 246 years of stolen labor, reparations for stealing native children. Stop the killing. It's still happening. Stop the theft. It's still happening. Return the land. Match the mythology. Then and only then we can all be equally thankful. Peace.
We ain't gonna be happy until matter of fact, this is when we gonna be happy, man. Let's get Psalms 149. And we're going to end off on this note. Psalms 149 and 3. It says, let them praise his name in the dance. Let them sing praises unto him with the timbrel and harp. For the Lord taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek with salvation. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of the Most High power be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen, and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh. That's when we're gonna be happy, man. All right. When we get that get back, and when we on top. All right. So with that, I'm gonna give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone rule well, peace and salutation to the elect. Shalom.